UFC 318 is happening 2 nights from now. We're going to be doing our picks and predictions video. This is my third video of this kind. I'm excited. We're going to start off with the first fight of the night, Carly Judas versus Nicole Cagliari. I don't want to go too into depth because this is a fight that I don't care about. But I'm going to pick Carly Judas just because with these lower level women's fights, I'm always going to pick the fighter that is longer and rangier. Carly Judas is 5'7" compared to 5'3" for Nicole. She's got a 68-inch reach compared to 62-inch reach. Her leg reach, even better. Her record is bad. Nicole has a better record. But I'm going to go with the longer fight. I mean, look at her legs. Her legs are really long compared to Nicole's legs. She looks stumpy and plumpy and... You know, that's nice and all, being plump, but not for MMA, not for women's MMA. The longer ranger fighter usually wins. So maybe a head kick KO, like we saw with Klein last weekend. Yeah, Carly Judas is going to win. Easy pick. Next fight. Bruno Ferreira versus Jackson McVeigh. Bruno Ferreira, he beat that Armenian guy, I remember. Petrosian. He submitted him. But Jackson McVeigh, I'm going to be honest, I don't know much about Jackson McVeigh. He's only 6-0. Is this his first fight in the UFC? Let me see. I don't know much about this guy. Yeah, this is his first fight in the UFC. And he's listed as 6'4". All finishes. What the fuck? Okay, so this is going to be a tricky pick. Because granted, I don't know this guy. He's young. He's 26. Bruno Ferreira. Let's go dark mode. Bruno Ferreira, he's a tough guy. He's 5'10", but he's like... He closed the distance, but he has lost. But a 6-0 record isn't all that impressive. Let's be honest. If it was like 10-0, then I'd be more inclined. But I don't know, man. He's got all the advantages. Higher reach. Better leg reach. You know what? I'm going to be the guy to pick Jackson McVeigh. If he's legitimately 6'4", I have to watch the fighter face-offs tomorrow. I might change this pick at the last second when I stream, depending on how much bigger he is. But for now, I'm going to go with Jackson McVeigh. That could change on fight day. You know, on my stream, I'll have the list of all my picks on stream of who I pick. But right now, I'm going to go with Jackson McVeigh. Bruno Ferreira has lost before. Next fight, Ryan Spann versus Lucas Brzeski. Oh, this is going to be hard, man. It's hard to pick fights when both of the guys are absolute dog shit. But Ryan Spann, he loses to OSP. Then he loses to Waldo. Lucas Brzeski beat Walter Walker, man. People forget. But he loses to Kennedy. I don't know who to pick. Maybe I should just go with Lucas. Similar reach. I don't know if Ryan Spann is actually 6'5". I think he's 6'4". Both of their fights were losses, last fights. I think I'm going to go with... Usually I pick the black guy, right? Usually I go with the black fighter in a fight that I don't know who's going to win because the melanin points add extra attributes. You know, black fighters usually hit harder than white fighters. And Lucas has been disappointing, man. He gets knocked out by Mick Parkin. He gets knocked out by Kennedy. I think I'm just going to pick Ryan Spann. Fuck it. Just for the melanin points. Ryan Spann is probably going to knock out Lucas Brzeski, so we're going to go with Ryan Spann. Okay, next fight. Jimmy Crute versus Marcin Prachnio. Oh God, another horrible fight to pick. Marcin Prachnio. Who's his last fight? Remember, he's Polish, but he's so mediocre. Modestas Bukauskas, he loses. Devin Clark, Vitor Petrino. Oh God, this guy. Wait, he beat Khalil by decision? Okay, yeah. But wait, look at it. Look at his fight. He loses one, then he wins one, then he loses one, then he wins one, then he loses one. So there's a pattern with his fights. He might beat Jimmy Crute, but he's 37. Jimmy Crute got knocked out by Jamal Hill. I remember that fight. And he's got a mediocre record himself. If you're watching this video, comment, do you prefer when it's light mode or if it's dark mode like this? I'm going to keep it light mode for now. Just because it's easier to read, I think. Yeah, it's easier to read. Australia versus Poland. I think I'm going to go with Jimmy Crute. Yeah, I'm going to go with Jimmy Crute. I just think Marcin Prachnio is just... He's older. He looks like a prey animal with his big bug eyes, whereas Jimmy Crute at least looks meaner. So we're going with Crute. Again, my picks are not really based on like super fundamentals regarding these fights that could be like 50-50 toss-ups. It's more based on feelings and emotions, okay? Adam Fugitt versus Islam Dulatov. I'm going to pick Islam Dulatov. I think this guy is a model, by the way. Yeah, and Fugitt, I've heard like some bad things regarding Fugitt. Apparently he's not super motivated anymore. I heard that from someone's stream. I can't remember whose stream I watched it, but like, yeah, I'm not going to pick Fugitt, however you say his last name. Islam Dulatov, look, he's got an OV for his last name. And it says he's from Germany. He's not from Germany. He's from somewhere in the Caucasus, okay? So we're going to go with Islam Dulatov to completely dominate and beat the shit out of Adam Fugitt. All right. Next fight. We go to the prelims. A hyped up fight. My first fight that I'm excited for. I made a video about Ateba Gautier. I think Ateba Gautier is going to absolutely knock out Robert Valentin in brutal fashion. Now, keep in mind, he's not 6'4". I think he's like 6'1". He can't be 6'4" with that physique, okay? He would have to be a lot more skinnier and slimmer. He's like 6'1". Now, Robert Valentin, I think, actually is 6'2". He's really long. And, you know, when he was fighting Torres Finney, he just looked so much bigger than Torres Finney in terms of height, but he still got wrestle-fucked by him. He couldn't land a knee to save his life. And I think he's just a mediocre fighter, man. Completely mediocre fighter. Ateba Gautier has a bigger reach, but okay. Yeah, we're going to go with Ateba Gautier. Not much to say about this fight. I talked about him in my last video. So, next one. Oops. Francisco Prado from Argentina against Nikolai Veretennikov from Kazakhstan. I'm going to pick Nikolai Veretennikov. Again, he's got the OV behind his last name. His record isn't all that impressive. Both of their last fights were losses. Now, what's crazy is it says he's from Kazakhstan, but over here it says he's from Ukraine. So maybe he's from Ukraine? I don't know. He's got a much higher reach. You know, you can't really trust these stats from the UFC. They get like all these stats wrong sometimes. I don't know if they're actually 5'10" versus 6'1". Like, it could be something completely different. So I'm going to go with Nikolai Veretennikov. But yeah, unconfident pick on my part. It could go to Francisco. This fight, fucking. Why is this fight in the prelims, man? Marvin Vettori versus Brendan Allen. I can't remember the last time Vettori won a fight. What was the last fight he won? Wasn't it against Dolidze, I think? The first fight? Yeah. March 18th, 2 years ago. He got brutalized by Cannonier. He lost Dolidze. He loses to Whitaker. He beats Costa. He's not that active. He's an inactive fighter. But Brendan Allen makes so many mistakes, man. Like, he makes so many mistakes. Like that fight with Nasruddin Imavov. He could have won that fight. But Marvin Vettori just doesn't have a robust, well-rounded fighting style. So I'm going to go with Brendan Allen because he could have won the fight with Imavov, and it was a close-ish fight. So I'm going to go with Brendan Allen to beat Marvin Vettori. Sad to see the Orc lose because I love Orc fighters. But yeah, Brendan Allen's going to win. Next fight, Kyler Phillips versus Vinicius Oliveira. I'm going to go with Vinicius Oliveira. I think Vinicius is a decent up-and-coming fighter. And Kyler Phillips, I just think, is mediocre. I also don't like Kyler Phillips' look. Yeah, we're going to go with Vinicius. Not too much to say about that one. Not a fight I'm super excited for. But anyways. Michael Johnson versus Daniel Zellhuber. The first fight for the main card. I'm going to go with Daniel Zellhuber. Daniel Zellhuber had a big war with Esteban Ribovic in the O'Malley Dwalishvili card in the Sphere. I remember that fight. I watched that fight. I loved that fight. I was a big fan of Ribovic after he brutally knocked out Terrence McKinney with a head kick in the first round. But Daniel Zellhuber, he's got a chin. Michael Johnson, he's old, and yeah, he's got that brutal knockout that he had against, can't remember his name. It was a Muslim fighter, skinny Muslim fighter, just completely destroyed him. But I'm going to pick Daniel Zellhuber. It's probably going to be a decision. I don't think Daniel Zellhuber is going to knock him out. I think it'll just be a 3-round decision win from Daniel Zellhuber. We move on. Next fight, Dan Ige versus Patricio Pitbull. I wish it would show the fighters' ages here. Can we see their age? He lost to Yair Rodriguez. And Dan Ige just beat Sean Woodson. They're similar height, similar build. Dan Ige's a dog, man. He went to a war with fucking Diego Lopez. So just for that, I'm gonna pick Dan Ige. He's been in the UFC for a while. Patricio Pitbull hasn't. Patricio Pitbull's on the tail end of his career. Yeah, I'm gonna pick Dan Ige by decision. I don't think anybody's going to get knocked out. I just think it's going to be by decision. Dan Ige, unanimous decision. Kevin Holland versus D-Rod. Daniel Rodriguez. I wish it would show the odds down here. It shows them for some of the fights, but not all of them. Kevin Holland is too inactive for my liking. I like it when fighters are active, but Kevin Holland's just on a completely different level. This might be stupid, but I'm kind of leaning on Daniel Rodriguez. Wait, how old is Daniel Rodriguez actually? Oh, he's 38. Never mind. Going Kevin Holland. Just because you knock out Ponzinibbio in like the last round doesn't really mean shit. You got knocked out by Ian fucking Gary, okay? You're not supposed to get knocked out by Ian Gary. You're supposed to go to decision, boring decision, if you fight Ian Gary. And you got knocked out by Ian Gary in the first round by a head kick. So yeah, Kevin Holland's going to piece you up. That's all I've got to say. Kevin Holland's if Kevin Holland beats him, he'll be on a roll, man. I wish Kevin Holland trained harder and took things more seriously. He could get a title shot one day. If he just keeps winning, he could get a title shot. That would be cool. If Kevin Holland beats Daniel Rodriguez, they should do the Buckley rematch. And I think Kevin Holland would beat Buckley in the rematch. Co-main event, Paulo Costa versus Roman Kopylov. I was originally going to pick Paulo Costa, but I just watched the press conference, and the dude was like tweaking on shit. And the last fight he won was against Luke Rockhold. A decrepit Luke Rockhold that retired right after. I'm going to pick Roman Kopylov. How can I pick a goofy Brazilian that doesn't take things seriously versus a stoic Russian that takes everything seriously? He's stoic. He looks mean. He's on a mission, you know? He's on a win streak right now. I'm going to pick Roman Kopylov. He got wrestle-fucked and submitted by Fluffy Hernandez, but Paulo Costa is not a Fluffy Hernandez. Not anything like that. Paulo Costa is just... If he loses this fight, he's going to be at the bottom of the barrel of the middleweight division. They're not going to cut him because UFC usually doesn't cut people that have like fun personalities, and he is funny. Because look, they still haven't cut Tuivasa. Tuivasa doing the shoey is what prevents him from being cut. So they're not going to cut him, but after this fight, he's going to be fighting like no names, nobodies, Paulo Costa. So we're going to pick Roman Kopylov. I think Roman Kopylov is going to win by decision. I don't really see Paulo Costa getting knocked out by Roman Kopylov. Although Roman Kopylov did have a good head kick KO against Chris Curtis. It was controversial, but it was still a good head kick. To the main event, I'm not really excited for this main event, to be honest, but it's good to see Dustin Poirier one last time. Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier 3. Who do I think is going to win? It's pretty much a pick'em fight. Look at those odds. It's a pick'em. I'm going to pick Dustin Poirier to win. And I know a lot of other top MMA YouTubers have picked Max Holloway to win, and they picked him by decision to win. But I just think if you're in Max Holloway's position, how could you possibly be motivated for this fight at all? All of the motivation, all of the drive is on Dustin Poirier's shoulders. Max Holloway, I would not want to fight Dustin Poirier a third time. And I know he says in interviews and stuff like, oh, you know, I lost to Volkanovski 3 times in a row. I can't lose to Poirier 3 times in a row. I think Poirier's going to win. He's going to be in his hometown, surrounded by people that love him, that cheer him. That doesn't really mean anything in fights, but he's going to have the crowd. He's probably going to, you know, if he's on the back foot and he's losing, he's probably going to be willing to go out on his shield and take a lot of damage and take more risks, throw big bombs, because he is a counter striker and he's going to be throwing those hooks, and they are going to be landing on Max Holloway. And Max Holloway, his chin is done. He finally got that chin cracked by Topuria after moving down. So it's going to be easier to knock him out at this point, in my opinion. When you get knocked out, it becomes easier to get knocked out afterwards. Those shots that Poirier landed in the first round of their second fight would have knocked out Max Holloway if he had been knocked out before. The same way that he was knocked out by Topuria. I'm going to go with Dustin Poirier, and I think that's going to be a confident pick. I'm not going to say by knockout or by decision, because it could go decision. I heard some points from like Reddit that there might be like a a situation where Dustin Poirier, he might hurt Max Holloway bad, but he might not go for the kill just because he wants to like embrace it and put on a show more so than finishing off his opponent. I don't know if I genuinely agree with that kind of point. I think that if he does hurt Max, he'll probably go for the knockout. He won't do like a, oh, gotcha. I got you there. I don't think he'll do that. I think he would just knock him out and he goes off and rides off in the sunset one last time. It will be sad because he's probably going to be a complete tier show and he's going to be in the Hall of Fame for sure. And I think Bruce Buffer is going to address him as the one, the only Dustin the Diamond Poirier. Bet on that. I think he is going to address DP on that, the one and the only. His retirement fight, he'll be 31-9 after this. And Max Holloway, if he loses this, he's going to have to fight Oliveira next. I'm kind of scared that Max Holloway is going to become the next Tony Ferguson. I think the Topuria fight took a lot out of him. It shattered his ego, his confidence. And it was just such a stupid move to move back down. After you knock out Gaethje, in my opinion, the best knockout in all of UFC's history, you don't move down, man. You don't move down. Especially not against a guy like Topuria, whose style is catered to beat you. If Topuria and Holloway fought 10 times, I give Holloway like one time that he beats Topuria. One time. He loses the other 9 times. You know? It was a really stupid move. He should have stayed at lightweight, but I guess he didn't want to fight Islam, but he didn't have to fight Islam. He could have taken a break, and Dustin Poirier was going to fight Islam anyways. Or I can't remember if that... Yeah, that happened after UFC 300, so Dustin Poirier was going to fight Islam, and then Islam was going to schedule to fight Sarukian. Sarukian would have pulled out, then Islam beats Money Moik, and then you could have had Holloway fight Topuria at 155. I would have given Holloway a much higher chance of beating Topuria at 155 rather than starving yourself as a skeleton at 145. When was this? Yeah, June 1st. So this did happen after UFC 300. So yeah, he should have never moved back down. He would have had a much easier time beating Topuria at 155, man. I mean, he starves himself so bad, he looks like a prisoner of war. Like he was captured by Japan and sent to like the Bataan Death March. And he just got out of a prisoner of war camp. That's not healthy. Even at 155, he looks super skinny. We'll see how he looks like Saturday. Because apparently he said, oh, now I'm really bulked up. Now I feel really healthy. We'll see. We'll see. But I still think Dustin Poirier is going to win this fight. So, yeah, that's my last pick. And, yeah, UFC 318. Hype. I'm actually a little more hyped for Whittaker and De Ridder next week. Because at least that fight actually means something. So, and there's a lot of good fights on that card. So, yeah, UFC 318, 2 nights from now. Tomorrow, I'll probably post a video about the fight the fight card that's happening the week after. But yeah, that's all I've got for you. Peace out. Let me know in the comments who you think's going to win in the main event. And I will be streaming this, and I'll have all my picks listed, so we'll see who wins, who loses. And yeah, tune in. Peace.